Myself Dr.S.Dhivya, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce and Computer Application in Dr.S.Dhivya College of Arts and Science, Autonomous. Today in this session, we are going to discuss about the comparative table of debit note versus credit note. Before we are going to see the meaning of debit note and the credit note, in which occasion we are using the word debit note and the credit note. For example, when we are purchasing the goods for the credit basis, when we are purchasing a goods on credit purchase or when we are selling the goods for the credit sales, if there is any damages or if there is not satisfied for the product, we will return the product, right? That is the purchase return and the sales return. When we are the term we are using purchase return and the sales return, that time we use the term debit note and the credit note. So when we purchase the goods, that goods is not satisfied for me either due to poor quality or I am not satisfied with the product, I am return the product to the seller. So that is the purchase return. That purchase return we use it as debit note, and if there is a sales return, it is used as a credit sales. For example, when we are purchasing the goods for the credit basis and if I am not satisfied with the product, I am returned back to the seller. That is the purchase return. That time we use the term debit note. So now we will see how the debit note and the credit note occurs. Who issue this debit note? Buyer of goods issue the debit note, and the credit note, the seller of the goods issue the credit note. Like I am purchasing the good and I am not satisfied with the good because due to so many reasons or the reason lack of good quality, I am returning the goods to the seller. So that time I will issue the debit note. See, when we accept credit note, the seller has to issue the credit note for the damage of the goods. So it will occur only in the purchase return and the sales return. And the meaning of it, debit note is, it contains the reason for the return of goods. There are so many reasons for returning the goods. Might be the quality is not good, size of the product is not satisfied, style or design, whatever the reason may be, I am returning the goods to the seller. So the debit note will occur in this situation. Likewise, in the credit note, it confirms the purchase return is accepted. Whether the seller is accepted the purchase return, what the buyer is returning, the debit note. So if the seller is accepted, it is called the credit note. See, can be used, only it is used in the credit purchase and the credit sales, not in the cash transaction. So the debit note and the credit note only occurs while there is a credit purchase and the credit sales. In which impact is happening? Bills receivable. For example, in the credit purchase and the credit sales, so the buyer and the seller have the account book is called bills receivable and the bills payable. So in the bills receivable, the seller think of that he will receive the amount for that product because he sold already. He didn't expect that he will return back again. So in the bills receivable, the amount value of the debit note will decrease here. Likewise, in the bills payable, so the buyer think of that he is going to return back the product. So here also the amount he has to pay to the seller value is also to be reduced in the bills payable. And it will reflect positive amount. What is the positive amount? The buyer has returned back, he is going to get back the amount from the seller. So it is a positive amount. Here it tells about the negative amount because seller has to repay the amount to the buyer because he returned the goods. So he received the goods. So for that he has to return the negative amount. He has to return the amount. So from that book the amount value is decreased. And how the accounting entry will occur? For example, if we purchase the goods, what is the entry? Purchase account data to supplier. When we return the goods, what will we write? Supplier accounts data to purchase return. Likewise, in the credit book, how will we write? When we sell the goods, cash account data to sales. In the credit return book, sales return book, sales return account data to customer account. This is the way the accounting entry will enter in the debit note and the credit note book. Issue in the exchange. This is the important thing. Here, debit note, buyer will issue the things to the seller. When he receive this credit note is received by the seller. Because of that, he is accepting and he give acknowledgement that either I will return the good quality of good or either I will charge the amount for that. properly to you. That is the credit note. Here, seller is acknowledging that I will return back this product. I will give a good quality for the buyer. So here, credit note and the debit note versus reverse entry, because buyer said issue the debit note. This debit note is accepted by the seller. Called the, here is exchanging the debit note and the credit note from the buyer to the seller. Either that they are accepting the terms and conditions what they have mentioned. And this credit note color should be blue ink. They have to write in the blue ink, and the debit note they have to write it in the form in the red ink. This is the basic simple sample of example of debit note, how the debit note should be. Here we have to mention issued by, who issued the debit note and to whom we are issuing the product, what the product we are going to return back to the seller. We have to write the items here, GST, quantity, rate, amount. We have to separate the CGST and the CGST total and mention the terms and conditions. Likewise, the credit note also given issues by the seller. This is, hope you all understand. This is an assignment that you have to give a sample of debit note and the credit note, how the debit note occurs and how the credit note we have to mention here. Tomorrow you have to submit. Thank you.